Purgatory, and I want to welcome you all back to my channel. And today I have another treat for you guys, and it's part of a new series that I plan on doing. This isn't just a YouTube short. Like I said, I wanted to do daily YouTube shorts. This is actually going to be a series I'm going to do, and I'm going to be walking through vintage Fangoria magazines. Like I mentioned in my previous video, my brother owns a comics and collectibles store, and they got a big haul of vintage Fangoria issues in. So he's been bringing me a lot of these issues so I can have them for my collection and also show them to you guys in my YouTube videos. And the really cool thing about this issue is it's from the 90s, but it's also Fangoria's 100th terrifying issue. And another cool thing that I absolutely love about this, and I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but this specific issue features articles teaching about horror history. And it has articles dating back from horror from the 20s, you know, the silent films, and then 30s with and 40s with the Universal monsters. And I love classic horror. I love silent horror films. Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is probably one of my favorite classic horror flicks, and that's a silent film from the 20s. And like I said, I love all the Universal monster films. I love all of William Castle's work. And if you don't know who William Castle is, he is the one that made 13 Ghosts, The Tingler, House on Haunted Hill, you know, all the gimmick films that Vincent Price was in. And just, I love classic horror, and there's a lot of articles in here that tell about the history of horror. So let's dive into it. And before I open this up, I just wanted to show you guys my brother's stamp that he has. It's House of Heroes Comics and Collectibles, and if you were ever in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, vacation, or whether you move here or you're just passing through, definitely come in and check out his stuff. He's got a big horror selection. If you like, you know, vintage, you know, collectibles or toys, he's got those too. Excuse me, I can't talk. Vintage Star Wars, G.I. Joe, what have you. He's got all kinds of stuff, so come and check him out. See, I'm opening it now, and I'm very funny about how I open comics and magazines. I'm super careful whether it's a newer issue or it's an older issue. A newer issue or older issue. I don't know, I try to keep things in nice shape. Let's see what this ad is. It's for eye effects. Motion picture eyes. Oh, that's pretty neat. As I mentioned in my last video, one of my favorite things about the magazines is looking at an old ad. It's kind of like stepping in a little time machine. Okay, so we got, the only thing I would say that is wrong with this, per se, is, I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's got a big old crease down the middle. It kind of looks like somebody may have folded it and stuffed it into their backpack and took it to school with them, or they just folded it and put it in their pocket. I'm not sure. It doesn't bother me, at least, like, there aren't any tears or, like, major nicks or anything like that. It's just something, like, I kind of noticed, but as well as it being the 100th issue, and it has articles regarding horror history, it has exclusive interviews by major horror icons Clive Barker, Stephen King, Robert Englund, Vincent Price, John Carpenter, Wes Craven, Sam Raimi, David Cronenberg, Tobe Hooper, James Cameron, Tom Savini, and Peter Cushing. And that's pretty neat because I don't know if it's a couple of, I don't know, I forget when Vincent Price passed away, but it may have been one of his last interviews, I'm not sure, but let's dive into the issue. I'm going to stop rambling now. Let's see. Here we have an advertisement from Legend. I actually have no idea what Legend is, but the statue here looks like it was $60 when it came out. It's really cool. If you guys know what Legend is, let me know. I mean, I know I could probably look it up just as easily, but I'm lazy. Let's see. I love like how like a lot of the old issues had black and white pages. I just find that very neat, very vintage looking. And here we go. This is what I was talking about regarding the history of horror. This starts with, actually doesn't start with the 20s. It actually starts with the 30s and the 40s. And the cool thing about it is they talk a little bit about censorship, I think. I haven't read the articles, but I'm just going off of what this little blurb right here says. Literary monsters hit the screen, classic horror stars established themselves, but even back then, censorship made trouble for genre films. So this is definitely going to be an interesting read, and if you guys actually want me to read any of these articles on a video, like, let me know in the comments, and I could definitely do a video like that for you guys. We have, look, we have Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff. And it goes to, this is from The Invisible Man, which is one of my favorite Universal Monster films. It's just a really cool article talking about Universal Monsters and how, because a lot of the Universal Monster films were based off of books. I know I haven't read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein yet, but I'm going to soon since I got the book for Christmas. And I think this is actually going to be an interesting article. Because it talks about everything. The Wolf Man, it talks about the Invisible Man, it talks about everything. So if you guys want me to read this, let me know. And here's one of our first interviews. By the way, I apologize if you guys hear my dogs barking. They probably hear a noise outside. Yeah, here's one of the first interviews with Peter, 20 questions with Peter Cushing. And as well as articles, I could read one of the interviews to you guys. You know, it's definitely something I can make happen. And we even have an article about Weekend of Horrors, which I didn't know that went on in the 90s still. I thought that was something that was, I don't know if it still goes on or if it, I thought that was something that was fairly new. But it even has cosplayer pictures, like right here. That's pretty neat. Yeah, sorry if I'm being a little quiet. I'm just kind of studying all the images because this is the first time I've looked through this magazine. And here we go. Here is the Vincent Price interview. And Vincent Price, he was a big horror icon. And I think one of my favorite Vincent Price movies, if not my most favorite Vincent Price movie of all time, would have to be The Tingler. And if you've never seen that, it's kind of hard for me to explain. Definitely look it up. It's awesome. But this is going to be an interesting interview to read. I've watched interviews with Vincent Price. So he's always seemed like a nice, fun guy. And this article goes into the 50s. And if you guys have read this issue or if you've had it, if you bought it when it first came out, let me know if you remember anything. Let me know if you read any of the articles or any of the reviews, how interesting they are. I think they're probably great. And this right here is from my favorite Hammer movie. Hammer's Mummy is actually my favorite version of the Mummy. I know the story's a little different, but I don't know. I've always loved Hammer's Mummy film the best. And here we actually have a Twilight Zone ad for Twilight Zone VHS tapes. That is so cool. $4.95 a piece. Not anymore. A Month with the Seer. I'm honestly just gonna have to go through and study everything. I could honestly spend hours looking at a Fangoria magazine. And there's Tom Savini himself. And I'm just basically, walking through this with you guys. Showing, if you've never seen, what an older issue of Fangoria looked like on the inside, here we go. And I definitely want to start collecting them again. Even newer issues I would love to collect. It's so amazing. Even have a little comic strip right here. Here's Clive Barker's interview, which I'm especially interested in. I'm a big Clive Barker fan. And if you guys have never seen this film right here, this is actually from Clive Barker's Nightbreed. The book or short story, I forget if it's a short story or a book, is actually called Cobalt, not Nightbreed. It's about another world full of monsters. It's absolutely fantastic. And here's the Fangoria Hall of Fame. We have Rick Baker, Rob Botton, Doug Bradley, James Cameron, John Carpenter, Wes Craven, David Cronenberg, Robert Englund, Kane Hodder, Toby Hooper, Stephen King. Yeah, definitely some worthy names in here for sure. And this looks like just, an ad full of, comic issues. Blood of Dracula. I'm not sure exactly what this is right here. I'm not sure if this is for, comic issues or what. I'm not sure. Donald Pleasance. He's earned his name in the Hall of Fame. And, of course, Tom Savini. Definitely worthy. Dick Smith. Stan Winston, Kevin Yager, hopefully I'm not completely butchering that name right now. And, okay, okay guys, I said I was especially excited to read the Clive Barker article. I forgot about the George Romero one. Now I'm especially excited for the George Romero one. I love George Romero. He's one of my biggest inspirations because my first horror film was Night of the Living Dead, like I said in my last video that I filmed. So yeah, he definitely earns a place. And actually, these pictures right here are from the remake of Night of the Living Dead, which is actually my favorite horror remake of all time. And because, Tom Savini was involved, George Romero was still involved, Tony Todd was involved, it was just a fantastic film. And here's, more special effects. You can, for $35, you can get a prosthetic arm that moves exactly like a living hand. Scare the bejesus out of the neighbors. As close as you'll get to the real thing without getting arrested. What the fuck? It's so fucking great. It's amputated and it's alive! What? I love this. This is great. Oh my god, I get a kick out of these. Hey, you can have your own moving, severed hand for only $35, guys. That's a steal. And now we go into the 60s. Of course, Alfred Hitchcock was very popular back in the 60s. We have Psycho, The Birds. And unfortunately, there aren't a lot of Alfred Hitchcock films I have seen. Those are the only two Alfred Hitchcock films I've watched. But the 60s was a really good decade for horror. I mean, you have Psycho, like I said. You have Night of the Living Dead. You have most of, I think probably one of my favorite horror films, one of them, is Black Sunday, and that came out in the 60s. That's one of my favorites. And City of the Dead, I think that stars, Christopher Lee, City of the Dead, if you've never seen that. Then it goes into the 70s, of course. And the 70s, again, that's another really good decade for horror. Um, but yeah, fantastic issue. Spectacular for the 100th issue. I mean, it's got the interviews, it's got the articles regarding horror history. It goes, like I said, it doesn't go from the 20s. I made a mistake on that. It goes from the 30s on up and kind of teaches you about, all the popular films that came out in those decades. So I'm going to have to read this entire issue. And like I said, if there are any articles or interviews you guys are interested in me doing a video about, let me know in the comments. But I just wanted to kind of walk you through this issue, and I hope you liked the video. Honestly, this was a cool issue. I can't wait to read a lot of the stuff that's in here. I have so much shit to read, honestly. But that just about concludes today's video. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys are enjoying the series, let me know if there's anything you guys want to see in the future, any future content ideas. Definitely give me suggestions in the comments. I'm always open to suggestions. Give me a like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at Spooky Celestial. Follow me on Instagram at Celestial Horror, and my website is actually starting to publish articles now. I have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 review up right now, which I'm going to be doing a video about soon. So check that out at purgatoryhorror.wordpress.com. But other than that, like I said, give me a like, give me a subscribe, hit the bell notification so you don't miss a post. Anyway, I love you guys. You rock. Be nice to each other. And pleasant screams.